just the piano with no audio, no
That's
audio system.
awesome. That's awesome. So now you
Quite
guys could
resounding.
hear it and Zoom could hear it too. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. Okay, I'm going to put this image up here. Hopefully you can all see it. It is one of the most gorgeous, if I can get it. There we go. Let's see. Oh, there we go. This is a beautiful picture taken of I think it's like a jaguar or a tiger, but oh, perfect. That's perfect. And he's taking a lick or a drink from the pond. Look at what a perfect mirror image that has in the water. And couldn't the image in the water say, I am that? I am that. So thank you guys. Thank you, sweetie, for that. And so the verse that went with that for today comes from the Wisdom of Solomon in 2:23. For God created man to be immortal. What does that mean? None of us get out of here alive, right? We were created to be
To last forever.
Oh, immortal, right? But I mean, yeah, mortal in the body, but immortal in the spirit. Yes, thank you. And made him to be an image of his own eternity. The righteous, because they are made in the image of God, can rest in the full hope of eternal life. The full hope of eternal life. This is extraordinary and exquisite because one of the things that Eckhart Tolle was talking about in the year of 2021 is that we have a beautiful opportunity to connect with that image that we are created in. That there is a beautiful sound of music that we can solicit in the background of our reflected image of God. And to the extent that we do that, the more vibrant the image is reflected of God. To the extent that we disconnect from that, the fainter the image we project in the world, that we are connected to God. Now, there is something very extraordinary about what Eckhart Tolle was talking about is available in the year 2021. When we are fully connected with that image, where it's like a mirror image, you can't hardly tell the difference between God and the image, hardly, is when we are to source and disidentify as our image in our opinions of what is happening in our lives or in the world. Now, there's two ways of expressing our opinion. One way is that we lose our identity in our opinions and our stances of what we stand for. When we lose our identity in a concept, we open ourselves up to a world of enemies who have differing opinions. And we feel we literally have to fight for our existence. We have to fight to defend that. Whereas the second way is allowing ourselves to be so immersed with our Creator, so immersed with God, that that background of music is always playing, that when we have an opinion, our identity is not consumed in that opinion. So therefore, we can eat at a table in the presence of our enemies. We can fully express our opinion fully, and then let someone else have theirs. We can let them have theirs without us feeling we need to fight for a position. Fight for an ideology. We get to have ours. But when we are immersed in the pure image and reflection of God, there is no need to fight another for theirs.
I would have been refreshing back on November 2nd, huh? The day we voted.
Or for
Yeah,
November 4th.
whichever it was.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but I mean, but you know, it's interesting because the other thing Eckhart Tolle talked about, which was really a vivid image for me, is he talked about, you know, he woke up in the morning and he was hanging up his pants or something, and he was just consumed with the divinity of himself hanging up his pants. Right? We think, oh, if I was connected with God's, what would I would create worlds, and I would, you know, create world peace, you know, just something grandiose. And it's fascinating when you really lose your opinion of your ego, you know, your ego's opinion, you're present, right? It's not you become the magnificent creator of the universe. It's you're present to what's already been created and is being created. And there's a lot of people in fear. You know, I've been watching, I know some of us here have gone through rounds of fear, especially when coronavirus first hit, and like, what are we going to do and what's going to happen and all the unknowns. And I was just like, wow, how refreshing to be able to experience fully what's happening without having to fear it. Now, think about it. What is fear really saying? Fear, something unexpected, unknown is happening, and I may not know how to handle it. Now, first of all, unexpected, in other words, isn't in the realm of what I know, isn't in the realm of what I planned, isn't in the realm of my ambitions and my goals and everything that I'm going to make happen. Something is happening that might take that away from me. I mean, it sounds like a beautiful refreshment from the ego to some degree, right? Fear is, no, I'm going to hang on to that, instead of, wow, look what's happening. You know, we go to theme parks and we get on roller coasters. It's like, oh my God, I've never done this before. This is crazy. Then you do it like 15, 20 times. Like, all right, let's do it again. Right? So it's this unknown thing that first comes along in the most exciting moment of life. Whereas later we're just bored by it. I mean, I'm kind of, you know, I was talking to Bill this morning about, you know, do you watch the news? And he says, I only catch pieces when, my dad. And we're the same. I don't watch the news unless you know, I walk through and it's on in the kitchen or something. And I'm amazed at how I can literally feel in my chest the intention coming across the TV to create fear. I'm like going, wow, that, holy smokes. It's almost like I'm on a roller coaster. And the only thing's happening is I'm like, you know, preparing my hot cereal and there's news on the TV. So there's an opportunity to connect with your divinity, which is right now effortlessly pumping your heart, effortlessly filling your lungs with oxygen, has provided the oxygen, has thoughts going through your mind like traffic through Los Angeles, right? It's just going through your mind, and you don't have to say, this one's mine. And if you don't agree with it, then, you know, we got to talk. I'll have to show you. Instead, you can just enjoy the entire process, including the freight trains that go through your mind of thoughts, the traffic of feelings in your chest, the oxygen that fills your lungs that feels so good. I mean, take that deep breath and like, that's such a cool feeling, isn't it? Just that oxygen, it automatically touches your blood and starts distributing itself through your body. And there's a miracle happening while we sleep, as we sleep. I mean, even being asleep, I always ask Tamara in the morning, what'd you dream about last night? And she's been having some wild dreams.
Very wild.
We were at dinner with Trump and Melania. And then what was this morning? You said,
we were at
Joel and Victoria Osteen. We were like, you know, I'm like, well, that's appropriate Sunday service or something.
Crazy,
So,
crazy
and
bizarre.
I have more
But
mundane dreams. Like my dreams are I have to like not remember my dreams because I'll have a dream that like I brought Jerry an apple. Or I was supposed to bring Jerry an apple or something, and I had this weird thing in my dream. And then I'll get to church and I'll say, Jerry, I'm sorry I forgot the apple. And he'd look at me like, what are you talking about? Because my dreams are so vivid that I can't connect them. I can't disconnect them from reality. And so when I have a dream, I have to sort of wake up and get myself positioned. Okay, that was that, and this is this, and I mean, but isn't that cool? Isn't it cool that while you're dreaming, it's real? I mean, nobody has dreams and says, "Oh yeah, I'm dreaming that this is happening." In our dreams, it's actually real, and I think it's such a metaphor for life. We think that this is such a desperate that life is this desperate thing and that we've got to hang on, and never die. And when we do, we've got to postpone it as long as possible. If you've ever been in the presence when people are actually dying, there is a moment of panic and fear prior to the acceptance. But there's a few minutes after the acceptance point when people settle into an ocean of peace as they transition from the frenetic traffic of having a body and all the thoughts and all the feelings to having reality of the soul connect with our consciousness again. And the only reason it doesn't stay connected all the time is because we have this symphony band going off in that corner with a one-man band in the other corner banging on kazoos with drums, and we've got children running around and marriage and relationships and family members, and just everything there's so much symphony. And when it all quiets down and settles, and I'm speaking from experience, I talk about how I used to meditate. I had an amazing experience. It was like an out-of-body experience because I was meditating and just quieting down the symphony. First on the outside, and then on the inside in my mind, and then my body, my heart and my lungs followed suit. And everything just calmed down to the point where something was revealed. Something so subtle, the soul's awareness, for just a moment. And all I could say was, wow. It's like there's a wow of a roller coaster, which is excitement, but there's a wow of peace that when it touches you, you don't want to move. You just want it to drown you in the ocean of peace and lose yourself in it instead of worried about losing yourself. So this thing that we're going through that seems so real and so scary, just know that it's just a rock concert for now. And peace is around the corner.
You know what? That reminds me of what Steve Jobs said before he passed. He said, wow. And again, you guys, let me just read the scripture again. For God created man to be immortal. There's our soul that will go on forever, and made him to be an image of his own eternity. The righteousness, because they are made in the image of God, can rest in the full hope of eternal life. And I was so struck by the difference between someone who is completely surrendered and rested in the truth of what God created us as, because we all believe that we're all God's children, right? Everybody on this that is a human being is a reflection of the image of God. And that we started out as these innocent babes that are so priceless. And I'll tell you that Greg and I watched the television series on Netflix, The Unabomber. It was the most insightful, intriguing drama based on true events. We love true stories. Now, here is an innocence that was born into a family who had an extremely high IQ, was advanced 2 years ahead of his grade. And something happened to him at Harvard University that was insidious, that I'm sure is banned, hopefully, if not by now, by these experiments that Harvard did on a group of volunteer students,
Idealists.
in the psychology department, where they literally torture, and the whole idea was to study, I don't know if the right word is espionage, but something about political spies.
Well, it was really about
things like
propaganda.
that.
Like, how can we control the consciousness, right? Which is
Right,
what
how can we
everybody's,
control
they're doing it
consciousness?
right now. You know, it's on
Right.
the news. Like,
Right.
it's so bizarre how there's only certain things showing up on Google and only certain things showing up on YouTube. It's like there's consciousness is being drawn to a particular direction.
Right.
So they were using physiological and psychological techniques to put pressure on people. You know, there's waterboarding, there's all kinds of ways to try and control people's consciousness.
But they did this through a terrible emotional trauma, you know, really degrading
Pressure.
him and putting him down, and saying his mom was saying these things about him, which wasn't even true. But imagine you take a sensitive, sweet boy, very sensitive, was hurt by a kid who didn't have him be his friend anymore,
Idealistic.
which we all experience as kids. I did myself, my best friend who was, you know, mean and calling me names. This is what happened to him, and this was the beginning, right? But there are things that happen in our lives when we can anchor ourselves in another reality, another alternative, a way of going to God. And God, what is this world about? Who am I really? Who am I inside of you? How can I evolve into the man you've wanted me to be, the woman you've created me to be? You know, there is that. And we watch systematically how the innocence of a man was brought to the brink through torturous experiments to be so angry, yet have an ideology of what this world should be like.
And all he wanted to do was go live in, he wanted everybody to go live in nature. And he had this thing where he figured out, he's brilliant, he figured out technology is not good for the soul. That was pretty much it. So everyone he targeted, the Unabomber targeted, was someone that was at forwarding and advancing technology. And so it's fascinating to see, because he was just this idealistic person that wanted to return to nature and have everybody return to nature. And, you know, imagined that he would be a leader in that, right? So he's got megalomaniacal tendencies. He may have Asperger's. There's lots of different things going on. But it's like, I mean, hasn't every single one of us thought, why can't we just love each other? Like, what if politicians, instead of like, how do I get my constituents and my profit and my, you know, what if instead they were just like, hey, let's solve a problem for somebody today. Let's see if we can get a group of people to have less burden in their life, right? I mean, this is what we do all day. Any human being that has a conscience wakes up in the morning and says, all right, you know, there's people I care about are hurting. Let me see if I can do something about that. I often say, you know, because I used to teach in recovery, and I would say, listen, you're just going to shift from one addiction to another. The human being is a habit-forming creature. We are all addicts. If you weren't an addict, you couldn't function. If you didn't repeat thoughts and have them become automatic, you couldn't function, right? So we're all addicts. The question is, what are you addicted to? So we're just going to shift your addiction from drugs and alcohol or whatever to service. When you become addicted to service every morning, oh my gosh, because you get good feelings and peptides, excuse me, and endorphins, and there's all kinds of things the brain does when we go into service. We feel a unity and a kinship and our value as a human being. If I can do something for someone else, not give them money, do something so that I see that my hands and legs and mouth can deliver value. There's a well-being. There's a richness in my soul of who I was created to be. Instead of, you know, how do I create something that people admire? It's how do I experience myself delivering value? And it's funny because so many people are interested in accumulating value, money specifically, but isn't it funny that anytime I do something for somebody else, anytime you give love, you automatically are filled with it. Anytime you give service, you're automatically filled with value. Anytime you go help somebody or show compassion, you're automatically filled. It flows into you before it can flow out of you automatically.
Mhm.
So it's an amazing miracle that even as the world is, crumbling around us, or politics are crumbling, or societies, or whatever's going on out there, whatever's happening with what's happening, there's no limit to you personally being able to serve. And as long as that's going on, there will be a day when, whatever visits you, that's time to transition out of the body, that experience will not be filled with regret. You'll know, you're just like, wow, I was given a gift called a body with 2 arms, 2 legs, a mouth, and a couple other things. And I used it to enrich the lives of others. And I just, Eckhart, this is why we listen to Eckhart Tolle. The man is completely at peace because he's celebrating silently the moments of life, even as he hangs his trousers, enjoying the divinity that he is, with hands and legs that can put trousers on a hanger and put it in the closet.
And still
What a
feel the presence.
miracle.
And still feel the presence of God's existence in his life, which takes us really full circle. When we think about all of us being created in the image of God, some of us have more vivid images and some of us have very weak images. Like the Unabomber was so angry, was so hurt, and so he couldn't even operate in society because he chose to go down that other path that Eckhart Tolle was talking about. Imagine if us as the family, as a unity family, we chose to have our opinion, but not immerse our identity in an opinion so as to not create enemies, so that we can be in the same vicinity, the same room, the same world, and not create and experience enemies. By not having to stand and be so consumed in an opinion that I have to hate you and see you as less than human, and that you are the devil, and that you are bringing destruction on this planet, and I have to hate you. Imagine we don't have to do that, and we can still have our opinion. We can still stand for what we believe. We just don't have to have our identity wrapped up in it. Let our identity be wrapped up in the image of God, is who we truly, truly are, is the image of God. What if we get to reflect compassion? What if we get to say to someone who believes differently than us, Zacchaeus, I will have dinner with you tonight. A hated person in society. Isn't that what Jesus did?
All he said was, your opinions are okay with me. Have an opinion. There's 3 people I spend probably the most time with. And because I'm kind of a little bit of a hermit. And I know Jeff came by.
Like the Unabomber?
Well, a little bit. So Jeff came by and he dropped off like this pamphlet that's like what's happening, with China and what's going on with their world interests. And then
which is interesting. We like that.
It's interesting because I can sit down with Jeff and we can share, wow, this is ideas, and be amazed without someone having to say, well, that's not right. Jerry, who has tremendous conviction, my God, was in the Navy for 25 years, raised children. He's still out there water skiing on a regular basis. I mean, here's a man with conviction in the winter water skiing. And we get together and he says, hey, Greg, you said something. And he'll say to me with a frown, and we'll get together and have lunch that week. And I love the critical thinking and the way, here's a man that has really looked at strategy in life and sees firsthand what it's like when men put their lives on the line, when people have deep convictions about where they stand. And yet I love sharing ideas. And I think the thing that makes it so delightful, Jerry, is somehow you, with my insanity, you actually can hear and listen and get, and say, wow, that actually is interesting.
We're all
right?
a little bit.
It may not
insane.
make sense. It may not be sane. It may not be, as coherent as I would like, but it's interesting. Instead of it's wrong.
Yes.
You can be interested.
And look at the example of Jesus, right? Look at the political environment he was in when he was arrested. And they say, you say you're the Son of God. I mean, God could say, Jesus could say, yeah, you idiots. No. What did he say? What was his beautiful example? What did Jesus say back?
Who do you say?
Who do you say that I am?
Who do you say I am?
Who do you say I am?
Because that's all that matters.
Who do you say I am?
It's the only thing that matters.
He knew he was the Son of God. Did he have to make a vigilant stand and be pissed and yell and say, you idiots? No, he didn't. He just simply said, who do you say that I am? And he still maintained his conviction of who he was. He wasn't confused. Jesus wasn't confused with who he was. He opened the door to his enemy, an opportunity for a conversation, an opportunity for a dialogue, an opportunity to be heard.
It's
instead of oppressed,
right,
punished, and blasted.
Because it's a beautiful marriage between having deep convictions and being able to listen. Yes. Right? Most people with deep convictions, like, I'll get my point across. It just comes naturally with having deep convictions. But to have deep convictions, and there was a point when I was really studying the lives of the most successful businessmen in the world, the Lee Iacocca's, and how did they accomplish turning an entire business around, and the Elon Musks and the Bill Gates and the these guys that were billionaires, right? And I was going, all right, how did they accomplish this? Now, I wasn't looking at the people that were just billionaires. I was looking at the people that were most admired. So I hit a wall with Bill Gates, not particularly admired by the people that worked for him. Same with the Steve Jobs. Wasn't, he's like, he even had a policy that if you were an employee of the company, you walk up and talk to him, you were immediately fired. Because he was so busy, he just didn't want, he was too busy doing things, right? But people were dismissed to some degree. But then there were these people that were deeply admired as leaders in business and could turn a business around. And just studying their lives, it was so clear, using the exact same principles of Jesus or Gandhi or Martin Luther King or Abraham Lincoln or Mother Teresa or any of these people that actually accomplished big, beautiful things. And as Jerry has pointed out, they may not have been the most wonderful person to sit down and have tea with. And as Jesus accomplished, but they had this very simple point. They had a vision. They had a vision for how things could be. What was Jesus' vision? We can love each other. We can bless and heal each other. And we can, and this was the first time the thought, we can forgive our enemies, was absent prior to Jesus really coming to the world, right? He walked his talk. And in order to show that message, it's like, well, I'm going to have to have some enemies, and they're going to have to do some really bad stuff to me if I'm going to prove that love can be expressed in the face of hatred. And every one of these leaders, they all had this beautiful vision, whatever it was. I'm going to take this business and turn it around. It's going to make millions. I'm going to show people that they can forgive their enemies. I'm going to bring compassion to the poorest of the poor. I have a vision that white men and black children of all colors, that anyone of any color can come together at the table and sit down as if they're a family dinner.
And the Unabomber had a vision too. Do you know what his vision was?
Return to nature.
Well, his vision was that you would never have to be oppressed, that you could live free. That was his vision. He wanted it for himself, and he wanted it for everyone. He just got very skewed in his delivery.
He was a sociopath. And there's no question about it.
And even his brother who
Murderer.
turned him in, right? His brother turned him in. His mother, when they asked him, they said, she goes, what happened? Where did I go wrong? What did I do? What happened? Something in Harvard? Something in his childhood? Something happened to my boy. And even his brother, when he was turning him in, he said, please remember, this is a human being. He's done terrible things, but he's still a human being.
And for anyone,
schizophrenic, whatever.
one of the first things I did when I left the monastery was I was exploring what would I do with my life, my career. You know, I had some writings that I was fond of, but I didn't know if they were going to be of any use to anybody. It turns out that they were. But for a while, I was just exploring career. And one of the first things I did was I worked with 2-year-olds with learning disabilities, because a career counselor said, you know what, you'd make a great occupational therapist. And I'm like, what? And they say, well, you know, a physical therapist works with your legs, an occupational therapist works with your hands, and a with the voice is a speech therapist, right? So you have these 3 things. And they were like, you'd be a really good occupational. So I was working with 2-year-olds with learning disabilities. And you know, what I really realized is we all have learning disabilities. No, this thing like us and them. No, there's just us, a whole rainbow difference of us. There's idiots that are beautifully loving. There's, you know, I have family members that were born with disabilities that have huge hearts and love to go out and help homeless people at Thanksgiving. You know, I have family members that had incredibly high IQs that destroyed their lives and died before they got to reach Jesus' age of self-destruction and addiction. And there's no such thing as a norm, really. I mean, you can do bell curves all you want.
And I think why
we're all uniquely different.
I think why the play Wicked, I don't know if anybody's seen the play Wicked. It's the untold story of the witches of the Wizard of Oz. And what you could see, because it delved into the past of the witch and Galinda, the good witch. Okay, they all went to the same sorority. They all went to the same school. One was green and one was very
Just had green skin.
Green skin, right?
Born that way.
But let me tell you something. She had a beautiful heart, and she wanted to set the animals free. She didn't want to see them caged. She didn't want them to suffer. So she did whatever it took to release them into the wild. This was her heart. Yet she was so twisted in what ended up happening with her and was labeled the bad witch, but she didn't start out that way. She didn't, just like the Unabomber, he didn't start out that way. And he had a beautiful vision for society, that nobody was going to be oppressed. Nobody would have to be caged. Nobody would have to be betrayed so brutally. That's why he narrowed his bombs to universities that were oppressing people. And you could see this in his documented life. Now, of course, you know, you can't hurt people and get away with it. There are certain consequences that happen when you're going to behave that way. But if we can at least have the eyes to see past our own opinions, our own ideologies, our own way of existing in the world, whether it be one side of the political place or the other side of the political place, if we can still hold on to what we believe, but allow our ears to hear where other people are coming from too.
Because we're so different.
Yeah.
You know, we think that here's a guy to Unabomber. They labeled him as having Asperger's. And he even said, I don't understand what other people are feeling. I don't know how to read what other people are feeling. Mm-hmm. And then we think, oh, he's not like us, who can feel what other people are feeling. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, I don't know, maybe I have a little bit of Asperger's or something. I've done some things that are callous, where other people what were you thinking? Didn't you know that was going to hurt people's feelings? You know, did that a lot early in life. And I learned more the hard way. I know that there are children that are born with a hypersensitivity, ultra kind to animals, would never think of hurting another person's feelings to the degree where they can't really function in society. So now here we have these 2 extremes. Someone that can't feel at all, labeled sociopath, don't get it, they're loners and disconnected from large groups of people. And then people that are completely isolated because they feel so much. They're so empathic that they can't fit in either. And then there's us, whatever normal is. But if we were to sit down and actually have a conversation and talk to each other about what do you feel deeply about? You know, I know that Tamara and I, when it's like, I don't connect with people as well as I connect with animals. And there's a lot of people that are the opposite. They just don't get animals. Like, why would you even have animals around? You know, people are what are important. They're divine, and most of the artists I know really do care about people's feelings. So just to be clear, everything that's happening, and you know my message is always love bigger. Just find, it's always some version of find a way to love a little bigger than you did yesterday.
Who do you say I am? Who do you say? Now, you guys, I really want to encourage everybody to watch the brand new movie that came out by Disney on Disney Plus. It's called Soul. And it's exactly what Greg was talking about. In the heavens, right? They're creating all these different personalities.
It's a very courageous animated film.
Very courageous.
About a soul, a man who basically is
trying to find his purpose.
Trying to find his purpose. But he, in the process of pursuing his passion, he gets a little blinded, he dies, and his soul is floating around. He goes through all these experiences, and it's really a beautiful series of messages. I mean, it's so daring.
The angels up there are saying, okay, so we have these group of personalities. Come on, we've got some megalomaniacs. Okay, and then we've got some super sensitive and not so sensitive. Okay, come on, souls. And they're about ready to jump down to earth, right? They're about to be born. So there's so much variety that we get to experience, even though we're not our personalities, right? Our soul's going to go right back to heaven, right? Our soul is intact. Our soul is not in question, right? But there's these different journeys, these different experiences that we all get to have on planet Earth. And it is so powerful to see in animation how amazing God is, how incredible that we get to even be here. It's amazing. And the experiences we get to have with the different varieties of personalities and souls, and they go back. It's powerful. So really see, carve out, Disney Plus is offering their thing free for a year, but make sure you watch Soul, Soul, Soul. Really great.
And there's, you know, I mean, one of the things about the film is that it really shows the possibilities for choosing to enjoy life through the eyes of others.
Yes.
And to see life through the joy of others. And it's just so fun to think about. You know, I used to always be so afraid of losing my freedom, right? And look at where we are, right? Stay-at-home orders, and you know, you can't go into a store without a mask on, and you know, I mean, there's a lot of freedoms that I've lost. And I was really thinking, you know, wow, this is going to be hell, you know, when we were coming into it. And now I'm looking at them like going, oh yeah, you know, there were these guys like Mandela and Gandhi who were literally incarcerated, and yet none of their freedom was ever taken away.
No, their soul is
they remained free in their minds to think what they thought, to believe what they want, to keep their vision for how life should be loving alive. And I'm really more intrigued. At first, I had a lot of fear too, losing my freedom and what's going to happen. And
but
now
I'm telling you, New Year's Eve, we had an amazing night. And guess what? There was no freedom lost. None. We were with Ed and Tristine and a neighbor couple, and it was Ed's birthday. And we got to celebrate like nobody's business. He just turned 55, and we all got to sing and, you know, blow, you know, and hats. And you know what? There was absolute freedom in those walls of where we gathered. Absolute freedom.
And that's something that nobody can really take away from you. Think about it. You know, what is incarceration? It's you have to go home to a little box, a little white box with a toilet and a bed. And that's what we do anyway.
But
Every day, that's what we do. And we go home, we pick our box, we go home to our box, and you're there in this, in this repetitive sort of existence. And yet, while all that's happening physically, and as the restrictions tighten, which is what was the beauty of Jesus's life, is that as the outside world became more oppressive, he was more free,
more present
to express his love and to show the contrast in the face of hatred. Right?
Yes.
So,
Which is exactly what is available for us.
In little pieces right now.
And we got so excited because there's a whole group of people here in Bakersfield. We know the owners of Hungry Hunter and a lot of restaurants. They've come together and they are suing the governor because it's unconstitutional that they wouldn't be able to continue their livelihood. And there's a lot of restaurants, even walking into Happy Jack's, they said, listen, if you guys would like to sit down and eat, that'd be fine by us. We're not kicking you out. It's too cold out there.
So for those that do want a sit down meal, Hungry Hunter is open. And by the way, it's known to be
you don't have to wear any masks.
It's known to be a pretty expensive place, but I love going. I get the baked potato.
But the waiters and waitresses there are wearing masks, so they're following the protocols, but they're not making anyone else do that. So if that is exciting for you, awesome. If staying at home is more preferred for you, awesome. What if we had the capacity to love it all without being in judgment? We're excited to go to Hungry Hunter on Monday night. We are going to be celebrating my dad's 10-year anniversary of being cancer-free. And how wonderful that we get to make a reservation, that all of us get to be there without masks and celebrating my dad being cancer-free for 10 years. That is glorious to us. Now, it may not be for somebody else, and that's okay. Stay home. That's fine. We're going out, and that's fine. What if all of it was fine and we get to be our full expression of what God created us as mere images of Him, mere images of God. For us, that shows up brighter when we are the most free. For us, somebody else's is going to show up because they're staying home. Good for you. Do that. Yeah,
and be considerate about it. Like, I don't wear a mask for me, but if I'm around people, I've been around some people. Tamara and I, manage some property and do some other stuff. And there's times when people will take a step back. I'm like, oh, would you like me to put my mask on?
Yes. We'll put our mask on.
That's bigger love. That's loving bigger. That's if that makes
someone else feel more comfortable,
better.
Absolutely.
Fine. I don't need to feel, this isn't a restriction. It's actually an expression of love to put a mask on. So, we can twist it any way we want. And it's really beautiful that you get to choose.
Yes.
That your intellect, that your interpretation. I do encourage people, because I know that a lot of times the feelings going through our chest can become so loud. That the beauty of having the frontal lobe of a brain is you can process that. And there's a lot of different ways to process it. If anybody's struggling with any of this, Tamara and I are always available. One of our favorite techniques online at thework.com. Byron Katie has amazing techniques. Please call us if you want a way to alleviate any anxiety, grievances, fear. There's some beautiful ways to deal with it. So if you're struggling, most people have a period in their life where they have either anxiety or panic attacks or something like that. And it just comes as part of the overflowing cloud, the cloud of life that keeps flowing over, and we go through experiences. So we are here for you. We look forward to moments where you get to say, hey, I need some loving. And we're like, hey, I got some love to give. And in service, it's our privilege.
So this would be a great time. We'd love to hear from you about what came up for you. So Jeff and Nikki, what came up for you guys?
Well, this is Jeff. And what I remember when Tamara first mentioned our source, we rely on our source, which I think of as God, who's created us in his own image. And then we see the tigers, where, of course, we're created in God's image. and we should be able to rely on that source. So that's kind of what I had with me the whole service. And then, I don't know, somehow I get a picture of how it looks. And speaking to God is praying, which is healthy, and I know that's good. But for me, I think it's sometimes better that I don't talk and I listen. And listening to God is meditation. So what I was left with today is all I need is the discipline to meditate, because it's not easy, even 15 minutes a day. It's just to repeat that. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Thanks.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thanks so
awesome.
much. So
Thank
Portia,
you.
That's okay.
how are
Well, I I had a lot of thoughts during the interactive message, and I just have to respond to Jeff. I have no problem meditating twice a day, the first thing in the morning, and then sometimes I fall asleep, and when I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll meditate again. However, get me to walk, I've been trying and trying and trying. And hopefully in 2021, I'll be able to walk at least half an hour to an hour a day. I just can't do the walking, you know, meditating, no problem. But I do want to say during the message about how Jesus came to take away the sins of the world. And sin, some people have said many things, the unrighteous, wrong thinking, maybe wrongdoing, and the one that I used to hear from another New Thought place of worship was that we are separated from God. That is the biggest sin. And then I also remember from the Bible, it says, I came here to give life and to give life abundantly, or something like that.
Mhm.
And during this time of COVID, there's been a lot of abundance. So that's all I have to say for now, because I have 2 pages of thoughts in front of me as you were giving your message, and during the service, I've been, writing my thoughts. So thank you. Lot of interesting messages there.
Yes,
I see
thank you.
I see a poem coming.
I see a poem coming.
Thank you, Portia.
Thank you.
So
Dylan.
Well, if we're gonna do
Yeah,
Dylan,
no,
let's go
Dylan.
around the room real quick, and we'll
Let's
do.
have Dylan do
We
his
we will do
computer.
that. Okay, Dylan.
I am. A lot of things came up for me as well. Kind of the one thing was kind of, how you were describing kind of the 2 different sides of just, not being able to feel, not really understanding others' feelings, and then those who kind of feel too much. That's kind of been my progression in life. I mean, when I was a kid, I mean, I was a bully, really. And I didn't understand the feelings of others. All I cared about was myself. And through just kind of my experiences, I've gotten to the point where I don't want other people to experience what I experienced. And more so, I don't want people to experience hell. I mean, there's variants of that, but what I'm talking about is more so that which you actually don't even need to go through, that for some strange reason you put yourself through, even though you might not be recognizing it. And I mean, it kind of, everything that we talked about kind of boils down to kind of the main thing that I didn't understand for half my life, is that in order to solve a problem, you have to first recognize the problem.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that's given you great scope for experience. Jerry, how are you? I'm doing very well.
They get to see you this week.
That's right. I actually, I had lots of thoughts, starting with Tamara's comment about opinions and people accepting. I don't know. I haven't seen, I guess I failed to see that there's any acceptance of opinions by others. But that got me to thinking, lots of thoughts, probably more concentrating on what I was thinking than listening. But I thought, what am I, what do I look at and for 2021? And I got to say, I'm sorely disappointed in the American people. Over the last few years, we've destroyed Southern history. Now, or actually it started, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Madison, Jackson, and now even Abraham Lincoln are being demonized.
Yeah.
And, people, the judgments, this is hundreds of years after the fact that people are judging. That only says to me that these people judging think they're perfect. And the people accepting those judgments must think they're perfect. And that's sorely disappointing to me. I know that I have many fallacies, and I accept that.
Thank you, Jerry. Now I can relate. How are you this morning, Susan?
Oh, very good, thank you. I similarly had so many thoughts all over the place. I think the initial image of the lion or whatever, I couldn't see it well, was a accurate reflection. Reminded me of some other posters I've seen with like a little tiny baby lion, and it would look in the pond and see this humongous big maned lion grown up, tough and strong. And the other one would be the reverse, where the big lion would look at itself and see the little tiny image. And it was all meant, I think, cute and good. But I was just thinking in the end of talking and thinking of what a gift if we all looked in that pond and saw reality.
Yeah.
With no judgment at the same time.
What a nice idea.
Right. That would be pretty powerful if the world could do that.
Fun. Thank you.
Well, and then we have Cheryl online.
Cheryl. What came up for you, my sweet friend?
First, I want to say Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year.
It was another inspiring and encouraging message for me, which I just love the feeling that I have after service, that I always feel that there's hope. There is hope. And I love that feeling. And today I have that same feeling. I'm encouraged, I'm inspired. And I appreciate that. I just appreciate being able to have that and look forward to that after each service. It goes a long way.
Beautiful. Thank you, my sweet friend. Thank you. Thank you.
Tracy, did you want to share?
Hello.
Hey, Tracy.
I want to say Happy New Year to everyone as well. And I missed portions this morning, but the portions that I did have the blessing of experiencing, I want to say that I agree with it wholeheartedly. Greg, I don't know that personally. I think you're very in tune to people, and I think you have the unique gift of helping us see ourselves faster than sometimes when we wait to discover it on our own. I think you're very good at that. So while you are gifted with animals, I personally see you very gifted with people as well. Yeah. And I believe through my work with a lot of people of all ages that where I've been in the position of having to diagnose disabilities, I have learned over the years that I learned more about myself and the gifts of all people by doing exactly that. And so where we may be weak in one area, we definitely have been blessed with gifts in others. So I have the gift of, I guess, amidst all the stress in the type of work that I do, I also have the gift of being reminded of the blessings on a daily basis. So I'm grateful for that. And so I agree. I mean, we have so many different definitions of what that is supposed to look like, when in fact, we're all perfectly designed the way we're supposed to be and meant to be. So I thank you for the wonderful reminder today, and I really appreciated this service.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you
you,
for the acknowledgement,
Tracy.
Tracy. Appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Judy,
Judy.
are you with us?
Yes, I just want to say Happy New Year to everyone and have a wonderful week.
Oh, thank you,
Thank you,
Judy.
Judy.
Thanks for always being here with us.
Mhm.
Appreciate it. And then Dad. What came up for you, Dad?
Well, I was just here thinking and listening to everybody's responses. I've never heard any church services that they stop at the end and ask what everybody has learned. And when you even listen to what all the people have learned and their expression of the love that they have for everybody, it really is another sermon that is taught to all of us. And I want to just thank you, and I love you. Bye-bye.
Love you, Dad. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, thank you. Mr. Edward, what came up for you, brother?
What came up for me? Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, birthday boy.
Just shaking off the allergies and stuff like that. So looking forward to more enthusiasm here soon.
Oh,
Cool.
bless
Well,
your heart.
hope you're feeling better.
Yes.
I'm going to take just a second, and we're going to get our screen back up. Just give me a second here. So we're going to go with this. And then we're going to go with, oops, okay. Well, I started from the beginning, so we'll have to do that. No worries. Okay. You can see the whole thing really fast.
Okay. So great. Our offertory blessing is that divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And I just want to thank you guys so much for your donations this last year in 2020, already putting everything together so that I can send a letter out to everybody for your taxes this year. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. We're so grateful to upgrade God's house, and looking forward to hopefully maybe this next year some new carpet and some shutters in the fellowship hall. So thank you guys all for that. Now our peace song, Mr. Dylan, let there be peace on earth.
On earth, and let it begin with me. There be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, and we all are weak. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and it begin with me.
Okay, our prayer of protection is the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and wherever God is, all is well. Thank you guys, and have an amazing week. We look forward to seeing you all next week. And whoever would like to write an article for this month's newsletter, that would be amazing. You know, I put amazing different backgrounds for I'm working on whatever the occasion may be. So thank you.
She'll dress
all.
you up if you write
I'll
something.
dress you up. Thank you. Love you.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Looking forward to sharing it with you.
Yes. Okay, so hopefully